Back in studio with the fellas, and it was clean football once again from the Kansas City Chiefs. All of the core tenets and what we've come to expect from this franchise. Mac, what stood out to you first?
Well, just the adversity that we saw in the first half, solely coming from the offensive end in terms of the miscues, the mishaps, and then finding a way to weather the storm, play good defense until your offense came to the party, and voila, it took off from there. Pat Mahomes basically allowed the Commanders to get out of the blocks first. If they were a sprinter in a race, they got out of the blocks first, and all he did was say, you know what, I'm going to play my Usain Bolt and come get you. And when he started rolling, Rashee Rice started rolling, Travis Kelce, and collectively the running game, they ran for 148 yards on the ground. It was a surprising 148. When you watched the game, you didn't really feel like they were that productive, but they averaged almost 5 yards per tote. A complementary, balanced style offense, and it started with number 15, and he is in his rhythm. And it's one thing to see Rashee Rice do what he's been doing because we know about the potential. But now 87 is showing up in the stat sheet. Travis Kelce, 6 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown. He did have that one miscue deflection that led to a turnover. Outside of that, he is playing outstanding football, and that's the most scary thing in terms of the eldermen of the pass-catching group showing up. This could be a very, very entertaining second half of the season for the Chiefs.
I mean, sound the alarm in the AFC and league-wide here because you just detailed so much of it. Everybody got to their number in this game. 34 passes, 284 yards, 30 rushes, 148 yards on the ground. Balanced football. The quarterback gives it away a couple times, but kept it clean otherwise. Another 3-touchdown performance, Emory Hunt. This is a 3-alarm fire from all others that are trying to do exactly what the Chiefs have done for the better part of a decade now.
Here's the reason why all of that happened tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs are the smartest football offense in the league. Their football IQ collectively is top notch. Because when you talk about the running game, the vision that the backs have to hit the holes that are there on the inside, knowing how to press before they accelerate through the hole, that's check number one. That's why they ran the football well. Quarterback play. Pat Mahomes looked like the younger Pat Mahomes, where he's just buying time in the pocket, finding guys downfield, keeping himself behind the line of scrimmage, and then throwing the ball accurately to many different targets. So they pepper different targets with passes. Then the offensive line, knowing how to pass protect for a mobile quarterback without getting holding penalties is paramount for Pat Mahomes to do his job. And then on the receiving side of things, every receiver that's out there understands or operates with the mentality of scramble drill. They find open grass. They do not settle in where their routes are relegated to go. We saw that multiple times on touchdowns. We even saw it from Kareem Hunt, leaked back in the back of the end zone for the reception right there for a touchdown. We saw it with Travis Kelce. We've seen it with Rashee Rice. And all of those guys scored on second chance opportunities with their route running. So collectively, their football IQ on offense is the best in the league, and that's why it's scary time right now for Kansas City and those people that have to play them on the schedule.
14 touchdowns passing over the last 5 games for Patrick Mahomes. A 4-touchdown performance in there, and now 3 consecutive 3-touchdown performances through the air. It was a play that we gave out earlier on HQ. You watch, you wager, you win, but it's a fun team to watch, no matter if you're wagering or not, this Kansas City Chiefs side. On the other side, I want to go back to the early game decision-making of the head coach in Washington. I know this is something you take issue with here, Mac, because instead of taking 3 twice, I know that's not today's day and age in the NFL, you come up 0. It was interception, turnover on downs to start the game. Avoidable start? Did that stunt what we saw over the remainder of the 60 minutes?
Yeah. No question. I think when you look at the first potential field goal opportunity,
you go there.
You were straddling the fence. It would have been a long field goal unless you got Brandon Aubrey, who's the best kicker in the game. But the second opportunity, that's a makeable field goal. And I understand Dan Quinn said we're going to be aggressive. Well, there's a thin line between being aggressive and being smart, especially when you're playing on the road in Arrowhead. And Pat Mahomes, up until that point, he was struggling. Momentum is very, very important because when you miss those 4th down opportunities, you instantly gave momentum back to Kansas City in a moment where your defense gave you extra possessions because of the forced turnovers they had on Pat Mahomes. You had nothing. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, Commander fans who are watching us venting, you kick both field goals, you make both. You're up 6-0. Momentum is in your favor, and your defense, they get extra. They're playing with house money because they already created turnovers, and now they're really in their groove because they have points on the scoreboard, and they can really be dialed in to get more opportunities for you.
Yeah.
When you be aggressive like that, you better have a game plan in place. Not to mention, you got to look at what you've done thus far. You're below 500. You came into this ball game 3-4. So clearly you haven't been at your best. So when you make those strategic decisions, make sure you have a plan in place where you can execute and not give a guy like Pat Mahomes the momentum that he needed to be able to say, you know what, I screwed up, but he gave us right back. We're right back where we need to be.
Yeah, it's the type of decision-making that can reflect belief in a team, but it also can have whiffs of desperation, Emery. And now with another loss at 3-5 with 3 losses consecutive, your quarterback's been dinged up for the better part of this season. What does it look like the road forward for Washington?
Well, that's why it looked like they went all in on this particular ball game because, yeah, they were aggressive, but there is a fine line between aggressiveness and recklessness, and their aggressiveness was a detriment to success tonight because they went all in on the first half, and what happened in the second half, they barely had the football. Kansas City leaned on these guys so they couldn't get off the field, and which allowed Kansas City to slowly choke them out in this ball game. So now, because you lost this particular game, you went all in, and we've seen teams play Kansas City like this is their Super Bowl. And so now what happens the following week? Will Jaden Daniels come back? Can you run the football? We saw Kansas City's front seven do a phenomenal job in playing the zone read run, taking that away, which forced them into a one-dimensional game.
Yeah.
So now you have this, again, find the running game. We talked about this in pregame. Yeah, you can run the football. You led from the front for a lot, but you don't really have a true run game. And now moving forward, every other team in the NFL will pick apart this particular tape and say, okay, if we can play them this way, we can kind of slow this down, force them into a one-dimensional game, and who on the perimeter scares you vertically. They could win a lot of contested catches, but if we are able to get pressure and you don't have time to get the ball vertical down the field for those guys to get revved up and get going, their game, it gets shorter and shorter. Their passing
condensed.
Very condensed. That umbrella gets to close on that front seven, and it becomes tougher to have offense.
I'd like to say something to the viewers that are watching us. They're saying, well, analytics said they should go for it. I know we're in this era of analytical numbers with football, but analytics never factors in how good you are as a team. Analytics never factor in how good the team is you're going against, either that defensive unit or whatever the case may be. Analytics never factor in, oh, well, we're playing with our backup quarterback. Analytics didn't factor in, we missing our best lineman in Laramie Tunzel. So that's the thing about analytics, why I hear people say all the time, well, analytics says you should go for it because there's a percentage that you should get it. Well, the computers never factor in the actual people who have the helmets on. That's a major factor. So when it's 4th and 6 and you telling me analytics says you should go for it, well, I'm going to ask this question.
Last night, gentlemen. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on the Commanders on Monday Night Football. A little sloppy from Kansas City early. Mahomes had been picked off once before, and Niki's picked off again.
Oh, yeah, tips and overthrows, Greeny.
Gotta get those.
Yeah. It bounces right into the hands of Bobby Wagner, makes the play. The Commanders are feeling good early. We got a chance, guys.
Sluggish start, so the game is scoreless. Now we're into the second quarter, and all of a sudden, hey, J-Mac, Travis Kelce's wide open.
You cannot play too much zone against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. He is going to find that spot.
And Jeff, that leads to this Kareem Hunt.
Look at that. Getting up in there. Half a yard. Hand it to another play. Don't let the quarterback score. Just hand it to another play. It's a little much more exciting that way.
Now, right at the end of the half, this is Marcus Mariota for Terry McLaurin. Take another look. He's initially ruled incomplete, but watch again.
Insane.
Spectacular play. All overtime. It is a touchdown. Jaden loves it. We're tied at 7 going to the second half. So we got a ball game, right? Wrong. Here come the Chiefs. Look at him, Neek. Look at the time he has to throw.
Again, this is just them being comfortable within the offense. I think Mahomes is waiting. He's buying time at this point. Not open downfield. Kelce knows at a certain time, you got to leak out and catch that ball.
6 catches, 99 yards for Kelce, and then extending the play on 4th down.
He did it so much last night of just keeping the play alive, using his legs, but keeping his eyes down the field to make plays.
Chiefs up 14-7, and then Jeff still in the third quarter. It's Kelce.
Look at that. Going back behind the ball, a little back. It makes that stab and catches it, strength in the hands. Don't call him old, baby.
Old man strength.
Don't call it a comeback.
His 83rd career touchdown, tying Priest Holmes for the most in Chiefs franchise history. So we'll keep that ball. Chiefs up 21-7. 8 minutes to go. It's Rashee Rice Boy, are they dangerous with this guy in the lineup.
Another touchdown with more than 4 seconds in the pocket for Mahomes. All 3 of his touchdowns.
This is when you grab the clicker. That's when you grab the clicker right there.
Go to the baseball game.
There's plenty of baseball left.
Rice, 9 catches, 93 yards. Chiefs go on to win big. Travis Kelce still doing it at a high level. 99 yards, his season high. 8 targets, tied for his most this season. And as mentioned, his touchdown ties him for the most in franchise history. Here's his quarterback.
That's the true chief of Chiefs, man. I mean, he is the guy that was here before me, sets the culture. He's the guy that is in the building early, in the building late, and he is the leader of this team. So to be able to get him that record, tying it, let's go out there and break it now.
Yeah.
Graziano, what did the Kansas City Chiefs prove to you last night?
Well, I like their chances of breaking that record at some point this season. Look, the Chiefs are still the team that you have to go through in the AFC. And this is the best their offense has looked in years. Now, talking to people there in camp in the summertime, they felt like the offense was really going to hit the ground running this year. They felt like things were in place. Then they find out about the Rashee Rice suspension right before the season. Then Xavier Worthy gets hurt on the 3rd play of the opener, and all of a sudden there's a couple games where they're not themselves because they don't have their guys. Well, now they have their guys. Rice back from suspension, Worthy back from the injury, and you can see how different it looks. They have pass protection. By the way, even -2 starting offensive linemen last night, they're still protecting Patrick Mahomes well, and they have more speed and more dynamic playmakers in that receiving group than they had over the past couple of years. So they're incredibly dangerous. And by the way, the defense played well last night too.
One guy that they still have in that receiving room, of course, is Travis Kelce. We went through some of his numbers. And, Jeff, you've got some tape on just how he's just there's a craftiness now about the way he's going about
this.
this.
You talk about big moments in games and not being overwhelmed by him. He's just got this, like, sneaky old man energy. He's just savvy. Like, right here. He leaks through, has a good block. You thought Rice scored on it. Next play, he's going to lead block for the Hunt touchdown. He's doing the dirty work, right? Now right here, he's blocking. He's a tight end. He's blocking. He's got all day. Okay, I'm going to leak out right here. Hits him, takes the ball down for 30 yards. Like, that's just knowing the situation, understanding that's not his responsibility. He's leaking out. And then right here, you watch him. He ends up coming to make this little play, little rub to help Hunt get open. He's willing to. You talk about, like, great teammates and why they talk about him. His hands are, they're next level, right? He's Hall of Famer. You know what that is. But it's all the other things he does. The rub for Hunt to get open late in that progression. He's willing to do the dirty work for his team. I think everybody's like, oh, it's past him. When you do stuff like that, you play forever because everybody wants to play with you. I just had a lot of respect for what he did last night.
It's like developing a post game when you're 35 because you no longer have that explosiveness. He's figured out another way to impact the game. But I think his intelligence and the intelligence of this offense altogether is what's impressed me. In the first half, they were getting a lot of man coverage and they weren't doing well with it. Second half, they come out with tighter splits, a lot of crossing routes, open it up, force the Commanders to go in the zone, and that's when Patrick Mahomes starts to eat. And I think that on top of all of that, they now have these playmakers where you see a short pass to Rashee Rice turns to a big game and a touchdown, all because he's a special player. You see a screen pass to Xavier Worthy turn to a cross field, like reverse field, big play. Like, it feels pretty scary.
And I look at it like when you're playing Jenga, and when you take one piece out to what you were saying, Graz, without the Rashee Rice, it all starts to fall apart and it didn't look as good. But now when you insert Rashee Rice, you can talk about Travis Kelce within that zone, finding those soft spots because he draws so much attention. And it's where Andy Reid can place him. Look, right now they're getting a Wildcat. Now you have 8-on-8. But the guy that's going to be a free hitter to the ball is standing in the end zone. So now when Rashee Rice goes to take off, they have a hat on a hat in the run game. Everybody's blocked. The one guy that can make this tackle is so far off. I know he doesn't score here, but gets the ball all the way down to the goal line. Nick, you talking about playing zone. If you play zone against Rashee Rice, he's going to kill you in the middle of the field. Right here, he gets matched up with a middle linebacker and Bobby Wagner. We call this route the jerk route because it makes the defender look like a jerk. Right there, he gets to the open space, and it is a touchdown. And I can say that because I've been that defender, and I've had that happen to me as well.
Look, I mean, there is an air of inevitability about this team.
Well, because of what they've done, right? So, like, the best team in the AFC this year is the Colts. They're 7-1, probably should be 8-0, and they're plus 116 point differential. They're killing teams. But the scariest team in the AFC is the Chiefs because they're playing at this level right now, and we know what the second half of the season looks like. We know what January and February looks like for Kansas City. It is much more difficult to beat them. So having the creativity of Andy Reid with the guys he has now that he can deploy to execute.
Kansas City, let's talk about legacy. Let's talk about greatness. And let's talk about what it means to wear that red and gold with pride. Because Monday night wasn't just another win for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a moment that will be remembered for years inside Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs dominated the Washington Commanders 28-7, but beyond the scoreboard, this game belonged to one man who continues to redefine what's possible at the tight end position, Travis Kelce. Under the lights with the kingdom roaring, Kelce hauled in 6 catches for 99 yards and 1 historic touchdown. That score, a 10-yard grab late in the third quarter, tied him with franchise legend Priest Holmes for the most touchdowns in Kansas City Chiefs history, 83. But it didn't stop there. When you count postseason play, that same touchdown marked his 100th career receiving touchdown, making him only the 4th tight end in the history of the National Football League to ever reach that mark. Only Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, and Rob Gronkowski share that company. Think about that for a second. Decades of football, hundreds of players at the position, and just 4 have crossed the 100 touchdown line, and one of them wears number 87 for the Chiefs. After the game, head coach Andy Reid stood in front of reporters and did what Andy always does. He gave credit to his players. He called the milestone a compliment to Kelce's consistency and toughness, and he reminded everyone that the Chiefs have been blessed with great tight ends through the years. Coming from a coach with over 250 wins, multiple Super Bowl titles, and a Hall of Fame career, that's not just praise, that's recognition of history in motion. Reid has seen legends come and go, and he knows that what Kelce is doing right now will be talked about long after the lights of Arrowhead go dark. Patrick Mahomes, as always, was right there in the middle of it. The chemistry between Mahomes and Kelce continues to be one of the greatest connections the NFL has ever seen. That touchdown was their 75th together across regular season and playoffs, something only 2 other quarterback tight end duos have ever done: Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates. That puts Mahomes and Kelce in the kind of elite air that only dynasties breathe. And it wasn't lost on anyone. Cameras caught Mahomes grabbing the football after the play and saving it for Kelce, a small gesture that says everything about respect, brotherhood, and legacy. And yes, even Taylor Swift was in the building to witness it all, quietly watching from her suite as her fiancé delivered his best game of the 2025 season. Say what you will about the spotlight, but Kelce continues to separate the spectacle from the substance. On the field, it's all business. 6 catches, 99 yards, 1 score, and 1 franchise milestone. That's dominance. Through 8 games this season, he's sitting at 474 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading the team once again in receiving yards, and proving that even at 36 years old, he's not just playing, he's performing at a Hall of Fame level. But this story isn't just about Travis Kelce. It's about the culture Andy Reid has built. It's about Mahomes' leadership, about the trust this locker room has in one another, and about the unrelenting drive that defines this team. After a rocky start to the year, the Chiefs have now won 3 straight games, sitting at 5-3 and climbing their way back up the AFC standings. The offense looks alive again, the defense is punishing opponents, and that fire, that swagger, it's back. This feels like the Kansas City Chiefs we all know. Andy Reid's post-game comments captured the moment perfectly. He smiled, he laughed, and he said simply, that's a compliment to him when asked about Kelce's record. Reid's not one for exaggeration, but his tone said it all. Pride, gratitude, belief. Because in Kansas City, greatness isn't an accident. It's a product of preparation, consistency, and the kind of leadership that starts from the top. And as fans, we're watching something special, the evolution of a dynasty that refuses to fade. Every era in football has its defining moments, its signature connections, and its legendary leaders. For us, it's Mahomes and Kelce, guided by the steady hand of Andy Reid. They've already delivered multiple Super Bowls, they've broken records, and yet they play like they're still chasing something bigger. That's the hunger that keeps this team dangerous. That's the difference between a contender and a champion. So Kansas Kingdom, take this one in. Enjoy it. Because what we're witnessing, these milestones, these wins, this chemistry, is the kind of football people will talk about for generations. We're not just watching players break records. We're watching them build a legacy brick by brick. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid, 3 names that will forever define an era of greatness in Kansas City football. Now I want to hear from you. How did you feel watching Kelce make history under those lights? Do you think this win proves the Chiefs are officially back on track for another Super Bowl run? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if you're proud of this team. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another deep dive into the heart of the Kansas City Kingdom. Because nights like this remind us all why we believe in the coach, in the quarterback, in the tight end, and in the dynasty that refuses to die. This is Kansas City football. This is Kansas City Kingdom.